We have a breaking news right now, and this one is coming straight from Kano State. The entire city is on fire with massive protests. Thousands of Muslims, Ariwa youths, and even northern elites have stormed the streets in anger, protesting against US President Donald Trump. Before we go deeper, please like and subscribe, because we'll be exposing a lot in this video. And what we're about to reveal will shock you, because it's clear now that this issue has gone far beyond politics. It's turning into something much deeper. Now, according to multiple videos circulating online right now, the protests in Kano are huge. Streets packed, banners flying. The US would take military action. And now, this protest is the direct response to that warning. The protesters carried placards that read, "We condemn Trump's threat to attack Nigeria. There is no Christian genocide in Nigeria. America wants to control our resources." You can already see the direction this is going. They've turned a humanitarian crisis into a political and religious standoff. Now here's the twist. While the northern protesters are defending the bandits and opposing US interference, the Nigerian government is also backing their claims. Officials are saying that the so-called Christian genocide is false, that there's no religious war, and that Trump's comments are just a way for America to interfere in Nigeria's internal affairs. But my people, this is where Nigerians, especially Christians, are beginning to get angry. Because the question now is simple. If these bandits are killing innocent villagers, burning churches and kidnapping school children, how can anyone call them our brothers and fathers? And this is why many are saying that Trump might be right. Because this open defense of killers by religious leaders is exactly what exposes the deeper problem Nigeria refuses to face. Let's be real, these protesters didn't come out for justice. They came out to protect the very people causing chaos in the country. They're not angry that people are dying. They're angry that someone from outside dared to call it out. And that's why Christians across the South and Middle Belt are reacting sharply online tonight. One person wrote, greater than, these are exactly the kinds of things Donald Trump loves to see. And when he does, he strikes even harder. Another wrote, now I'm confused about who these terrorists really are. Because none of these protesters look like bandits. Yet they're doing exactly what terrorists would do if given the chance. And my people, that statement cuts deep. Because maybe, just maybe, we've been looking in the wrong direction all this time. Maybe the real problem isn't the men hiding in the forests. Maybe the real problem are those living comfortably among us, in fine clothes, smiling on TV, pretending to be peaceful, but secretly protecting the killers behind closed doors. Because how do you explain this? Ordinary citizens defending terrorists, opposing justice, and protesting against help meant to stop bloodshed.
You have been looking for facts. Look at facts.
It shows that the problem in Nigeria isn't just the violence, it's the mindset protecting it.
If they taught them, they would say Muslims are also killed. By who? By Muslim terrorists.
The world
after they have eliminated
that the war against terrorism in Nigeria is not just a military fight. It's a war of truth versus denial.
What next?
So, my people, that's where things stand tonight. Kano State has exploded with anti-Trump protests. Northern leaders are
from
defending
the far
the
north,
and America is watching closely.
They were able to locate
because if Trump sees
and come
this
back
and you know him, he won't ignore it.
There is nothing Trump said or alleged that is not substantially true.
They escaped
the fact that the Nigerian government has ignored the reality of a genocide.
The rural villages of Sokoto,
the fact that the Nigerian government has been complicit in that genocide is equally beyond argument. These are things that most of us have been saying, including me, in books, in speeches. We've been saying this for over 10 years. So it doesn't require Trump
Boko Haram has taken over the village.
It is because it is Trump that has spoken
once you're
that
a Christian,
all this brouhaha is happening. What has Trump said that hasn't been said by multiple Nigerians within Nigeria?
The issue is for For many who are listening to Donald Trump say these things and, you know, the words that he is guns up, yes, in many ways, it could be that we've forgotten what the message is and focused on the messenger and how the messenger made that message. However, an intervention or an invasion, is that something that you would welcome?
Trump did not threaten an invasion. Don't let's kid ourselves. There are multiple evidence of Nigeria going around cap in hand. We've become essentially in the hands of our rulers a beggar nation. The same country that went to stabilize Sierra Leone, stabilized Liberia, is the same one that
now let's go back
to see the other side. Extremists and Islamist jihadists, simply because persons within his government and his military have compromised his territorial integrity and discounted the safety of his citizens. That is why it has taken a Trump to be bringing the riot act and be telling us that we won't do it. He won't do it. Let's focus on the fact that we have these problems. Let's leave the fact that we don't like the language of Donald Trump. Let's forget all these attempts at putting up nationalistic fervor. It makes no difference to the dying man in the Benue truck and in the platoon who comes to save him. You have reported cases such as Yelawata, where you have a military forward operating base less than a kilometer from Yelawata. Instead of engaging with those who killed over 200 Nigerians, they were busy shooting in the air. And then you want that person to bicker about whether it's Americans who came to save him. It is a function of the serious failure of the Nigerian state that we're even having this kind of conversation in the first place. But I am not interested in the nationalistic propaganda that has been coming out in response to Donald Trump's incendiary language. If we will tidy up our homes, it will do the right thing. Donald Trump ran to come for nothing. At the end of the day, Nigeria is not Somalia. It's not some small homogeneous community where you can come. There are more nuances to our issues than the black and white that Donald Trump would like to paint it. But the reality is that the irresponsibility of the Nigerian government is what has led to a situation. Our situation might be likened to that of an irresponsible father who has allowed his home to fall into disrepair, his children left them to serial abuse, and then a neighbor who happens to be more responsible, however garrulous you might call him, however much you might deprecate his method, he recognizes the humanity of the children that the father has left irresponsibly to be slaughtered.
Come and see what happened. Look at the monument.
Almost a week after the massacre, he couldn't even be bothered to go to Yelawata. What did he say? Oh, the road was bad. But he could have a party in Makodi. Please, if that is what it takes, if it will take a madman to speak to our irresponsible rulers, so be it. Or has he lied? And he hasn't threatened invasion. He said, go and do it or I will do it. Why can't you focus on doing it instead of focusing on I will do it if you don't do it? It was irresponsible for the Americans to talk about gun blazing. How many times have we gone to ask them to come and help us? And then they can see that we are irresponsible and complicit in the mess we are asking help for. Please. I'm not focusing on Trump's language. I'm focusing on the failure of our own government and the serious failure of the Nigerian state.
Well, then, Mr. Fatima, let's talk about that failure. Do you think there's a Christian genocide in Nigeria?
Reverend Danyamtung.
Let me put it this way.
My brother, we have
religion
seen
is a matter of identity.
The name of children and adults.
A lot of Nigerians are completely ignorant about the issue of religion in northern Nigeria. So if it quacks like
Sandra, Beatrice,
like
child,
we should surely be able to call it
Gabriel, Beatrice,
that is what has been happening all this while, and these communities have been screaming and screeching.
Yes, and the reality
is that we are all lying to ourselves and not admit to the fact that Christians are targeted, particularly in the middle.
Timothy Ezekiel Danjuma, child,
is not an animist.
Lydia, child, Obadiah, child, and somebody will come out and say there was no genocide
of a higher institution. What has happened? When those persons were charged to court, how many people came out to offer free legal services to them? What has happened to them? Where is the accountability?
Any Christian that will vote Muslim
they speak in a genocide and we want to quibble about it. Let's leave the name they want to call it. These are human beings that are dying. What about Mr. Jackson? A man was attacked on his own farm.
I can't sell my faith.
He struggled and managed
to Muslim
himself.
Nigeria is
still pursued him. He killed his attacker with
Nigeria
the attacker's knife.
Both Muslim and
Christian deemed that a murder.
Nigeria has been working on Muslim and Christian and Muslim
deliberately.
Why not?
That
is marginalization.
And all of that
is genocide. In the world of the politics,
Muslim or Christian,
the Islamic people have genocide us
Yoruba, Lantan,
by killing the Christians.
The important thing
becoming
is that
a second man
is a Nigerian within the Nigerian space, and the Nigerian state Christianity failed him.
The fact that this has been going on for so many years, does that point to some kind of collusion with the Nigerian government, or are we just talking about irresponsible leadership here?
Let's be clear about something. When the facts are not in dispute, we shouldn't argue with that again. We all are equally aware of the fact that the Emirates convicted persons for funding terrorism in Nigeria and shared their intelligence with the Nigerian government. Nothing has ever happened to them. Nnamdi Kanu is laid up in a jail cell today, in a DSS cell.
The Senate are coming.
Show them this. Issuing
my Senate are coming to meet their colleagues.
Sometimes
Senate.
in convoys as strong as 500. And the Nigerian government is negotiating
to them.
peace.
Is it not genocide?
The narrative we have created is one that denies the truth.
And they were able
but
to
stand continue to slap us in the face on a daily basis if we will care to look.
And say Israel is committing genocide.
Whether we call it genocide, whether we call it irresponsibility, whether we call it complicity, the reality is that what is happening in Nigeria is intolerable. That somebody somewhere found the grace to get involved to the point where they are telling us, go fix it or we can't fix it. It speaks to the height of irresponsibility that has come to characterize Nigeria, its governance, everything connected to it. But it does not change the truth, and it does not change the fact there are people dying in droves, and the government, for whatever reason, the same Nigeria that could once enforce peace in faraway land is no longer able to enforce peace in his own country. It was Abacha that said,
why didn't you bring them to Plateau to come and see this place?
Last longer than 24 hours.
Government is involved.
Let them ask themselves what has happened to us.
Some have said
you come
that
and tell me
the insecurity in Nigeria or defining our insecurity based on religious lines would be a little simplistic. I got an analogy recently where someone said that insecurity in Nigeria is like soup. There are too many ingredients inside of it. It's really gotten to a point where you can't exactly separate the ingredients. There might be some genocide going on in there. There's land grabbing going on. There's banditry. There's kidnapping. There's a business going on in here. So a lot of things have led to where we are, which in many ways is why the Nigerian government is saying, listen, President Trump, we hear you, but what you're saying is based on wrong intelligence. There's more to it than you think. What do you make of that?
They are banned to take over our villages.
About
they are banned to take over the state of Plateau State, Benue.
For the first time, somebody has spoken.
They are banned
and our government
to take over.
So
they are taking over Nasarawa State.
And
they are paid to take this place.
But there are sufficient body of laws within the international community that should serve as sufficient
as Adesina said,
the situation he was describing.
What shall it want us to lose our life?
You have more than enough to work
and
with.
land.
And I can't recall a single place that
it's better for us to lose our land so that we should remain
looking for Adesina. But the fact that they are complicit persons is beyond argument. Beyond argument. And so if America is really that keen on helping us, I would imagine that those are the kind of help that they can extend to us. That wouldn't even create any measure. There will be no need to come down.
No problem.
Mr. Fertimi, we do have to go on a break right now. When we come back, we'll be examining Nigeria's response to this situation. And then, of course, there are so many conspiracy theories out there and suggestions on how the Nigerian government and the American government can work together to get the best out of this unfortunate situation. So please join us tonight as we discuss this unfortunate situation that has split our country along religious lines with different narratives from government, from the people, from communities, from rights activists, just to make sense of what's happened and where we are going after this situation. Thank you so much for being with us on the program.
Thank you for having me.
All right, let's examine the Nigerian government's response so far. And I wanted to also get your thoughts on something Mr. Professor Wolishenka said recently, describing Donald Trump as a petty bully, likened him to Idi Amin. What do you make of that in the wake of this situation that we're dealing with?
Well,
an evil advisor.
Donald Trump is a bully.
He could not give advice to protect our land.
But as bullies go, he's my favorite bully in the wide world right now because
religion
there are more bullies in Nigeria than Donald Trump, whose bullying affects my life directly. When people bully me,
all Christians and all you, I urge you all over the world.
Billion. And
if you don't pray for Christians in Nigeria,
those are bullying me and slaughter unknown number of people at the toll.
This is what is happening.
We
are all living under fear.
I'm more than over 200 Nigerians. I'm worried about those kind of bullies. Donald Trump is a bully that is very distant and everything is bullying and everything has minimal effect on my life. And in recent time, the fact that he's bullying the Nigerian women class and scaring the big Jesus out of them makes me very, very happy. The fact that somebody in the Benue, someone on the Plateau, is going to sleep better tonight simply because Donald Trump has held the fate of the irresponsible rulers of Nigeria to the fire. I am so happy. He's my favorite bully in the wide world. And I'm loving that bully right now. But I don't want him to come to my country, gun blazing. But he's a bully that I'm loving. All of a sudden, The security agencies in Nigeria appear to have woken up. I love that brief.
On the first
I don't love his
day of
language,
7 March,
but I can't argue against the truth of what he has said. I think that is
massacre
why.
of
Yeah, I'm sure the people in Nicaragua and multiple countries will consider him a
names of
people in Nicaragua, people in
that were
Gaza.
killed.
You know, talk about
Machineries
the
were brought
what
from
moral
Niger
standing does he have to accuse
Republic.
anyone of
They
a genocide
were
against Christians? Isn't
brought
he carrying out some
from
kind of
Chad.
genocide in Palestine? You know, people
were
have
brought
talked about that.
from
And then, of course, talking about the fact that, look,
Burkina
in
Faso,
Gaza, you're not just killing Muslims, you're killing
Senegal.
Christians there as well. So what
They
gives
were
you
hired
the
into the
moral
nation.
right to stand on anyone's shoulder and say,
Nixon
declare
goes
yourself
from
the
Maiduguri.
savior of Christians?
That's a Muslim state,
Hypocrisy is the fuel
also
of
from
international
Gombe,
diplomacy.
Muslim state.
That is why
They
one
pass the
man's
truth
terrorist
into this
is another man's freedom fighter.
This is the route that they took.
I am not going to be concerned about the fire next door. Or
Why?
rather, did I say next door? In the
About
next town,
midnight,
when my
they
own roof
invented
is on
this
fire.
village.
Fact of the matter is this: let us deal with
We are
the
living
reality that has
peacefully
been painted for us.
in
Some
this
of us have held
Dogola
up
house.
mirrors for a while, showing Nigeria the fact of its ugly
These are
nudity,
the
but it refused
pictures of
to change. We spoke until we've been horrors. We even spoke until we landed ourselves in prison. But now, somebody from outside is even telling them the truth is not devalued in the mouth of a liar. The question is, as Donald Trump lied about the killings, maybe you don't like the fact that they are calling it genocide.
All they are under the grave.
Especially when they have all these crevices to hide behind and everything. But it doesn't change the fact that unacceptable casualties have been taken in the boundary of a country that claims itself to be at peace.
It's
Those
moving
rulers
to
gallivant all over the
66.
place as people are being buried in
Ended
mass
by
graves.
Israel Simon,
And we are still
Lydia
quibbling over
Bulus
what
Joy,
name Donald Trump is calling
Dalabi,
it. He's calling
Tum.
it. There was one imam a few years
And
ago
look at this place
who was
too.
honored for hiding God knows countless
That
number
Jew-
of Christians.
In his mosque.
That one do
Who are the people,
Justina
who are the
again,
people hunting those
Sani,
Christians?
Pam,
The
Victor
only thing
Pam,
that qualified them for
to
death
summarize,
was
to
their
go down
faith.
to
And their faith is
126.
linked to their ethnicity. Because
Round
as
up
I told you at the beginning,
Mboti Tikwa.
religion is a matter of ethnicity, is a matter of
also to
identity in northern Nigeria.
127.
That's why the northern Christian is not the same
Dan
as the
Juma
southern
Bob.
Christian. All these
Victoria
Pentecost
Zang.
in Lagos and everywhere
Test
can be lying
proofs.
about whether there is genocide or no genocide.
You have been looking for facts. Look at
He's
facts.
daring his church members
To prove
and
that
tribesmen
Nigerian government
in droves.
are
He knows what
biggest
is happening
liar.
to him. When he knows that he can't even go back to
If
his
they touch
ancestral
them, they will
land
say Muslims are
without
also
risking
killed.
death.
By
He
who?
knows that it is genocide.
By Muslim
So I don't
terrorists.
need Trump to tell me
After
what
they
I
have
have seen and heard
eliminated
within. And I've been
Christians
speaking to.
from
I have been
Katsina,
using the
from
word genocide to
Zamfara,
describe what is happening in Nigeria for
from
close to 10
Borno.
years. That all of a
What
sudden,
next?
people whose ears were blocked and were not listening are suddenly listening. It's not because
Then
they care. They don't need
the
Trump to tell them what's happening in their
Christian
country.
that
They are
escaped
complicit in what is
from
happening
the
in their
far
country.
north,
That they are actually
Sokoto,
bleating now is
they were
because
able to
they
locate
know that all of a
and come
sudden
back
somebody
to
crazier than them
Plateau
is asking
State.
questions of them, not because something strange
Because
is being
and
told
they
to them.
moved
They are
down
already
to the
aware of
south.
the fact of the killings,
They
and if they don't want to
escaped
call
their
it a
lives.
genocide, they don't want to call these things massacres.
Now,
even though they themselves have been
the
directly
rural
complicit,
villages
they
of
were there in Lekki,
Sokoto,
they were there in Zaria. So
Muslim
it's
state,
nothing new.
Katsina,
These are persons
Muslim
exercising
state.
the powers of
If you find
impunity
a
extended
Christian
by the
is in
Nigerian
the
state
town,
and the
the
insurance
city,
that comes with that nothing will happen, they
headquarter
can do
of the
as they
state.
care.
That's
No
where
consequences. How many
there's
of these murderers are in
security.
prison? Instead, they will
But
say
in
they are
the villages,
repentant. Have you
Boko
ever heard
Haram
that
are taking
nonsense
over the
before?
villages.
Repentant terrorists. You are calling
Once
people
you're a
bandits.
Christian,
You
you
are
can
calling
only
genocide.
be a
Farmer
Christian
headers
by
clash.
serving
What
them as
nonsense?
slaves in the local government.
Which farmer is clashing? How can a farmer
Look
who
at
knows
what has
nothing be
happened.
clashing with somebody carrying Kalashnikov and
To
M16 rifles? And they
189.
are calling it farmer headers clash. And you find
Look at
government
this
persons
monument.
peddling that idiocy. If Trump
It's a
is the one that
mobile.
has put a bee in their bonnet,
So
I'm
what
happy
is
to
that
see
in
them running
Chuanese?
around and it's as it should be.
Is it possible? Let's
Moving
try.
down.
Is it possible that the Nigerian government may be afraid of a kind of rhetoric
250.
that divides us further? It feels like our
people.
unity,
Just
our
said
oneness
Johanna.
as a country has
Now
been
let's
walking on
go back to
eggshells.
see the
Hold
other
on a
side.
second. It's possible that we've been walking on eggshells all of our lives with this unity of ours and this thing that we hold so dear, this nationhood that almost can disappear in a whisper. So little words that could have big ramifications. Words like genocide, Fulani herdsmen, things like that. Is it possible that the government is being a bit careful not to divide us further? Because when we put these things out there and it becomes a label that we've given groups or ourselves, wouldn't that do more harm than go divide us further?
The wise man once said something. He said, if the truth will kill them, let them die. The fact of the matter is that if we are not able to tell ourselves the truth of our situation, if we shy away from calling what we see what it is, then we are merely reinforcing. If multiple persons in government paid and maintained with taxpayers' money have been found in the public space saying things that shouldn't come out of their mouths, and what has happened? Nothing. Because it has more or less become official state policy to weaponize ethnic differences, religious differences. All our differences have been weaponized and tolerated by to gain power and to maintain the hold on power. Actively, persons who should promote unity divide on account of ethnicity.
That's 402.
Are we going to lie that this isn't the truth?
Move down to round up
facts that can no longer be disputed.
It does feel like the American government has it in for Nigeria, and that there have been signs of this. Of course, Lojokan's visa being revoked, and then of course, based on some of the alliances that we've made, standing with Palestine, insisting on a two-state solution for the situation in Gaza, siding with Ukraine in the war, and then of course that's refusal of the Nigerian government to accept refugees from the United States. Many people have said that these are the reasons why the American government had it in for us, and it just got an opportunity from politicians who some say took politics too far by taking this story and asking for the American government to help us out. They decided to latch on that to be punitive on the Nigerian people. Do you agree with this?
I am not blind to the fact of American hypocrisy, but I am saying that ignore the messenger, focus on what has been said. Are people dying unnecessarily in Nigeria or not? Whether if we had accepted the refugees who were being pressed to accept, whether Trump would have remained blind to the evil, that's conjecture.
We are better.
Thankfully, we didn't allow it.
Children, they are
so
among
maybe
those
that
names.
is what it took to awaken somebody who can get the attention of the Nigerian government to focus on the evil that is happening in Nigeria. What has happened to the list given by Olawumi in 2016?
We have seen
disappeared from our archives.
The name of children and adults.
What has happened
Look
to
at
the
it.
list sent to us by the UAE?
Ungola
Do something
Rababulus.
about that.
Adult.
What has happened to all the actionable intelligence
Sandra,
you have about
Bitrus,
the location of terrorists? Do something about that.
Gabriel,
And properly
Bitrus,
classify terrorists as terrorists. Stop calling them bandits.
Yes,
They ask for help when you require help. Surely, if the world sees us moving like a responsible country,
Timothy
Trump himself has enough problem of his own.
Lydia,
he wouldn't have time for us if
Obadiah,
we do what we need to do.
And somebody will come out and say there was no genocide.
Some of you don't really understand the reason behind President Trump's recent intervention in the Christian genocide happening in Nigeria. Many people saw the headline, but very few know the deeper reason why the United States and the world are finally stepping in. Let's start from the beginning. Over the last decade, America has been Nigeria's biggest international security partner. Washington has supplied drones, bomb kits, fighter jet upgrades, and intelligence worth billions of dollars. The idea was simple: help Nigeria defeat Boko Haram and its offshoot, ISWAP. Just this year, the US approved another $346 million arms package for Nigeria. Precision bombs, missiles, and targeting systems meant to strengthen the Air Force. Before that, there was the sale of 12 Super Tucano aircraft worth $500 million delivered under the Trump administration. Add that to years of counterterrorism training, logistics support, and humanitarian funding. On paper, Nigeria should by now have one of the most battle-ready armies in Africa. But what's the result? The killings continue. Entire villages still get wiped out in Plateau, Benue, Kaduna, and Borno. Churches are attacked almost every week. Children are abducted from schools. Farmers can't go to their fields. Soldiers keep dying in ambushes, sometimes because they run out of ammunition. So America is asking the same question many Nigerians have been asking quietly for years. Where is all the money going? Because the United States tracks every dollar it spends. It knows when weapons are delivered, when training is done, and when things don't add up. Intelligence reports show that despite billions invested, Nigeria's security forces remain under-equipped, under-motivated, and deeply compromised. And that's the root of America's frustration. Trump's declaration that Nigeria is a country of particular concern was not only about religion, it was about credibility. Washington is tired of funding what looks like an endless war with no genuine intention to win. When a country keeps receiving military support but still allows terrorists to thrive, it raises suspicion. When attacks follow the same pattern, Christians targeted in their villages, priests kidnapped, worshippers slaughtered in churches, and there's still no serious response, the world begins to wonder whether the violence is being quietly tolerated. That's why Trump's words hit so hard. They are killing record numbers of Christians in Nigeria, and I will not allow that to continue. Those weren't diplomatic words. They were words of anger, frustration from a government that's been watching Nigeria repeat the same cycle for over a decade. And now, America isn't alone. The Canadian Parliament has discussed the killings. British lawmakers have questioned why Nigeria still receives military aid. The European Union has called for independent investigations into attacks that Nigerian authorities call herder-farmer clashes. But let's be honest, how many times can something happen before we stop calling it coincidence? When the victims are repeatedly Christian villages, burned churches, murdered priests, the pattern speaks for itself. The tragedy here is that Nigeria's leaders still act as though these warnings are insults instead of wake-up calls. The official response to every global concern is always the same. They don't understand our security complexities, but the world understands enough to see the truth. The same corruption that destroyed the economy has infected the military. Procurement scandals, ghost soldiers, stolen allowances, even reports of weapons meant for the front lines ending up in the hands of terrorists. That's why the war never ends, because every bullet fired is another contract renewed. Every attack becomes another excuse to demand funding. The war has become an industry, and peace would ruin business. So when America sends weapons worth hundreds of millions and still sees villages burning, the anger is justified. No country, no matter how wealthy, wants to fund failure. And this is where it becomes expository. The US strategy now is shifting. The new aid packages come with strict monitoring clauses, human rights tracking, field audits, and transparent reporting. Washington wants to see evidence that the weapons are used for the right purpose, not for politics or profit. At the same time, discussions are happening in Congress about targeted sanctions, not against Nigeria as a nation, but against individuals, governors, generals, and politicians accused of either enabling the violence or stealing from defense budgets. If that list is activated, travel bans, asset freezes, and visa restrictions could follow. The message is clear. America is no longer willing to bankroll corruption. And that brings us back to the Christian genocide conversation. For years, survivors have been crying out, saying, "They're killing us and the world is silent." Now the world is speaking, and Abuja isn't happy about it. But why would they be? When you've built a system on impunity, accountability feels like an attack. Let's not forget what happened in 2021, when the US first considered putting Nigeria on the country of particular concern list. The Nigerian government lobbied hard to be removed. They promised reforms, new security strategies, new appointments, yet here we are. The killings not only continue, they've spread. So what exactly does the US want? It wants transparency. It wants Nigeria to prove that it's genuinely fighting terrorism, not managing it. It wants accountability for the billions already sent. It wants an end to the excuses that always begin with "we condemn" and end with "we're investigating." And let's be fair, America's concern isn't purely moral, it's strategic. An unstable Nigeria threatens the entire region. The Sahel is already on fire. Mali, Niger, Chad, and extremist networks are growing. If Nigeria falls deeper into chaos, the whole of West Africa becomes vulnerable. That's why Washington is acting tough. Not because it suddenly discovered compassion, but because instability in Nigeria eventually becomes a global problem. But that doesn't change the moral truth. Thousands of Nigerians, mostly innocent civilians, have been killed while those in power debate semantics. Whether it's called terrorism, genocide, or banditry, the result is the same. Human lives lost, families destroyed, a nation bleeding. So yes, the world is fed up, not with Nigeria as a people, but with a government that refuses to protect them. And that's where my opinion comes in. Nigeria's problem is not that it lacks help, it's that it lacks honesty. For every foreign dollar sent, there's someone ready to steal half of it before it reaches the front lines. For every tragedy, there's a press release instead of action. And for every victim, there's an official somewhere insisting it's not as bad as it looks. The world has finally stopped believing those lies. Trump's declaration, Canada's debates, the EU's concern, these are not attacks on Nigeria's image. They are reactions to Nigeria's silence. Because silence in the face of mass murder is not neutrality, it's complicity. So where does this leave us? If Nigeria continues on this path, the consequences won't just be diplomatic. Sanctions could cripple international trade. Military partnerships could be suspended. And the elite who once flew freely around the world may suddenly find themselves grounded, both literally and politically. But there's another possibility, the one most Nigerians hope for, that this global attention forces change. That the government finally wakes up and realizes the world is no longer watching quietly. That the billions meant for defense finally go where they belong, to soldiers, to intelligence, to rebuilding the lives of those left behind. Because at the end of the day, America's anger is not the real story here. The real story is Nigeria's lost humanity. A nation so used to tragedy that it now debates whether a massacre is religious or political instead of asking why it happened at all. This is why the world is losing patience. If Nigeria doesn't change course soon, the pressure from abroad will only intensify. Sanctions will follow, investigations will deepen, and foreign aid will come with stricter conditions. But it shouldn't take foreign threats to make our leaders act. It should take conscience. It should take shame. It should take love for a nation that has already bled enough. The world has done its part. The question now is, will Nigeria finally do hers?
If my government is denying genocide, what will they say about this? United Nations, European Union, take note. This is the genocide of people that were killed on the fateful day of 7 March 2010. Massacre at Dogona Hawa Plateau State. Names of victims that were killed. Machineries were brought from Niger Republic. They were brought from Chad. They were brought from Burkina Faso, Senegal. They were hired into the nation. They mix up with those from Maiduguri. That's a Muslim state. Also from Gombe, Muslim state. In fact, the troop into this place, Bauchi, this is the route that they took. By about midnight, they invaded this village. We are living peacefully in this Dogona Hawa. These are the victims of massacre. Davo Bitrus, Chuan Bitrus, John Nash Ren, Ngoisa Danjuma, all they are under the grave. Karos Nash, Lydia E. Danjuma. See the name. 100 is moving to 66. Ended by Israel Simon, Lydia Bulus Chuang, Da Labi Dung. And look at this place too. Dadung, Dabong Dung, Justina Gang, Sani Pam, Victor Pam. To summarize, to go down to 126. Ran top with Ungo Titi Guam. We move also to 127. Dan Juma Guam. Victoria Zang. Test Crooks. You have been looking for facts. Look at facts. To prove Nigeria government are biggest liar. If they taught them, they will say Muslims are also killed. By who? By Muslim terrorists. After they have eliminated Christian from Katsina, from Zamfara, from Borno, what next? Then the Christian that escaped from the far north, Sokoto, they were able to locate and come back to Plateau State. Because, and they moved down to the south. They escaped their life. Now, the rural villages of Sokoto, Muslim state, Katsina, Muslim state, if you find a Christian, is in the town, the city, headquarters of the state. That's where there's security. But in the villages, Boko Haram has taken over the villages. Once you are a Christian, you can only be a Christian by serving them as slaves in the local government. Look at what has happened to 189. Look at this monument. It's a memory for what is happening. Chuan S. Dung Gang boat moving down to 252 people. Joseph Johanna. Now let's go back to see the other side of the monument. It continues from 250. Zongdungzi, Chuandi, Jik, Da Jiang Pam Tang, Kumbo Jiang Tang. It moved down to 315. That is Nerat Jong. We move again to 316. Peace John, Ezekiel Pam. It moved down again to 378. That's Paula Joseph Nyam.
Sure.
It's Shiva Jeff from the top. Da Dungyang, Wen Davo. It moved down to 401 and 41. Da Gom Elia was among them this. Mandung Christopher, that's 402. Garba Danjuma, he moved down to round up to 501. Apart from this lists that are here, there are many. Only vultures that were dragged into those rocks. Women were dragged for raping that day. Come and see what happened. Look at the monument. Now can we say there was no genocide in those places? Children are there. There are two accounts of record. The one that I have here, you can see their lists and their ranks in wherever they are. Children were battered. Children, they are among those names. And I have it here, compiled by my father, Reverend Danyam Dung. My brother, we have seen here the name of children and adults. Look at it. Ungola Rababulus, adult. Sandra Bitrus, child. Gabriel Bitrus, child. Ngo Yisa Danjuma, adult. Ngo Laraba Danjuma, adult. Timothy Ezekiel Danjuma, child. Lydia, child. Obadiah, child. And somebody will come out and say there was no genocide. This God that we serve, under this Muslim ticket, any Christian that will vote Muslim ticket, may God forgive him. May God show him mercy. He has received his number, 66. I cancel my faith to Muslim ticket. Nigeria is for all of us. Nigeria is for both Muslim and Christian. Nigeria have been working on Muslim and Christian, Christian and Muslim. Why now? That is marginalization. That is genocide. In the world of the politics, the Islamic people have genocide us by killing the Christian, becoming a second man in Asoro. And the so-called Christians don't know what is happening. And those kind that came out and said there's no the grave, the death of these people is screaming in heaven. 501 people are here. 501. They are right inside it. 501. Please, and then the Senate are coming. Show them this. My Senate are coming to meet their colleagues. Senate, the screws, take this and present it to them. Is it not genocide? 501 people. And they were able to stand for Hamas and say Israel is committing genocide. What is genocide? It's in us. Look at the names that are here, there. They are right here in the grave. Dogo Nahawa. By the power of Jesus, we are coming back for real documentary. And we have done it, and we continue to show the world since Remo Amokere has invited to fact banding. Do you bring the American people to this place for fact finding? Did you bring them to this genocide ground? Remo Amokere, why didn't you bring them to Plateau to come and see this place? Are they not people? All are Christians. And you come out and tell me that there's also genocide. That even Muslims have been to shower down, to wash down, that Christians have been killed. Muslims are also killed. By who? Is it we Christians that were killing the Muslims? No. That's not our portion in faith. We love the Muslim. We care for them. And we are ever ready to help them. But yet, they are bent to grab our lands. They are bent to take over our villages. They are bent to take over the state of Plateau State, Benue. They are bent to take over. They have taken over Nasarawa State. And they are bent to take this place. We will fight to finish it. We will defend our land to death. As Adesina said, why shall he want us to lose our life and land? It's better for us to lose our land so that we should remain. Adesina, you have never come across. The power of the cross will crush you. During Buhari, you were defending Islam. No problem. We will maintain our land. They removed Christopher because he was trying to bring justice. And the justice was crushing the terrorists. The people insurgent that were brought from outside the nation. And they start shouting, oh, they are killing Muslims. Anakashe Muslimi, Anakashe Muslimi. Walabwa, Tinibu, Kachire, Christopher Zegamada, Demu. You thought we don't know? They cripple him. He want to act. They will say it's a genocide. Ribado is there as the advisor. Very wicked advisor. An evil advisor. He could not give advice to protect our land. But he's displaying religion agenda. God will fight for us when the time has come. And all Christians are all you, I urge you all over the world. If you don't pray for Christians in Nigeria, be ready to face the judgment. This is what is happening. We are all living under fear caused by some people. May God be with us. In Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you.
The UK government has frozen all the assets of Mountain of Fire and Miracle Ministries, MFM, one of the biggest churches in the world. According to the UK's Charity Commission, MFM has over 90 branches in the UK, but somehow they were running over 100 separate bank accounts. And the shocking part is that those accounts were being run independently by local branches without any form of oversight. That means that different branches could open bank accounts and buy properties without authorization. This made it impossible to track where the money was going or how it was being used, thereby making it easy for fraud to happen. To prevent more damage, the government stepped in, freezing all of MFM's UK assets and launching a deeper investigation into how the money was managed. Surprisingly, MFM is not the only big Nigerian church in hot water. Similar action is also taken against Christ Embassy, the UK branch of Pastor Chris Oyakhilom's church, over financial accountability issues. Now, MFM is facing serious questions about how millions in donations were handled. But one thing is clear, even the most powerful ministries are not above the law.